Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F1 League 2. We are here for Season 17, it's round 8 of the championship as we take in the Singaporean Grand Prix from the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore. Good evening everyone, I'm James Head. As always, going to be taking you through the stream here on this Friday night, and happy VE Day everyone as well, to around Europe and around the world as well. Joining me in the commentary box is Paco Suarez. Paco, how are you doing?
Well, pretty fine. Here in Spain, isolation is reaching its end. So at least I'm more like, I feel more happy, and glad that this is ending at least in Spain. And about the race, well, I think I feel pretty excited. And I think it's gonna be a pretty good race, to be honest.
Yeah, it should be quite an interesting race, I think, here in Singapore. Before we get to the nitty and gritty, before we take you through the driver's standings, we are going to pay tribute to those who sacrificed their lives to give us freedom 75 years ago to the day, on the 8th of May 1945, where Victory in Europe Day was declared. So we are going to start a 2-minute silence, and that will be starting from now. Thank you to everyone for observing that 2-minute silence in memory of all of those who sacrificed their lives to give us our freedom 75 years ago to the day. Now to the short term, now to the Singaporean Grand Prix, and reflecting on what happened last week, Mashiro taking the win in a dominant performance from McLaren, and coming into tonight they do lead the Constructors' Championship. Mashiro obviously dominating in the first time this season, last race, where Mashiro qualified on pole and then won the race. First time that's ever happened this season. How do you rate his chances coming into tonight?
Well, I think that he has shown during the whole season, well, at the start it was pretty, he made, not silly mistakes, but he made some errors, and that cost him some points, and Kiki actually took advantage of it, but as the races went on, he was able to actually come back, and I think at the moment, I don't see anyone being able to beat him. I think that probably if he continues like that in 2 or 3 races, probably he'll have the championship under his belt.
Well, Mashiro has got a 32-point lead coming into tonight. He leads from Key, 137 points for Mashiro, 105 points for Key in second. We're going to rattle through the drivers' standings. Storm in third on 72 points, Bethada is in fourth on 70. Daniil in fifth on 64, with Axnes in sixth on 59. Pariah in seventh on 32. Maximus tied for eighth with Atlas Copo on 29 points. And Jeffrey rounding off the top 10 on 25 points. Mason 11th on 22, with Charlie in 12th on 16 points. Shumi in 13th on 13. Conti picking up his first point of the season last time out, as well as YWR Storm, who I'll come to in just a second. He's on 10 points, Conti. Passel's in 15th on 7. Vax Viking is in 16th on 6. Wild Billy is in 17th on 4. YWR Storm and King Coles are tied on 2 points on 18th. In 18th on 2 points, let's get that right. Tom in 20th on nil points, and he came close actually to scoring points last time out in Italy. Constructors standings, McLaren can wrap up the Constructors here tonight. 232 points they lead from Toro Rosso in second on 102 points, pretty much already there. I think it's only something like 3 points McLaren have got to score over Toro Rosso to win the Constructors. Racing Point in third on 88, along with Alfa Romeo tied for third. Ferrari in fifth on 77, Red Bull in sixth on 35, Mercedes in seventh on 31, Renault in eighth on 29, Williams is in ninth on 16, and Haas in 10th on 4. Beautiful timing as we're just about to load into the lobby for 18 minutes worth of qualifying. Singapore, 23 turns await the drivers out on track, 31 laps in total, lap distance of just over 5 kilometres. This is one of the tracks where if you make a mistake, it is going to be very costly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in circuits like this, you have to be always alert, and you have to actually try to, because if you lose focus at any point of the race, it's gonna cost you a lot. So drivers will have to watch out, indeed.
They will have to watch out, especially so. Are we going to get a wet qualifying like we did last night, in fact, in TTL F1, League 1, where we had a wet qualifying, it turned from wet to inters, and then we had the same pretty much. We had a dry start to the race, then we had a wet middle half towards the end of the race, and it was full wet by the end of the race, or intermediates actually by the end of the race. It's looking dry currently, which is good to see. 15 drivers out on track. We've got a brand new driver as well, who I'm very fond of and I've been with quite a long time. It's good to see him in TTL F1 League 2. It is Superhero 123567. You could call him Superhero, I think, for short, instead of having all them numbers at the end of his name. But he's one of our new drivers tonight and should be hopefully getting a good result tonight.
I mean, let's hope. I don't really know what's the pace like, but if I believe in your judgment, so let's hope he can have a good result tonight.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to have a good result tonight. He's in and around this pace when he's on his day. He is in and around the likes of Mashiro, the likes of Key, in terms of his pace. He's even beaten Storm in a league race before, and that was back in the old days of TFRL. Yeah, that was around. Goodness me. But Key, Pariah, first two out on track. Let's get all the detail, the telemetry, the lap data up. And while we ride on board with Key, it is good to point out actually on our graphic when I get them up, because I've just forgot I haven't saved them, which is absolutely fantastic. So let me get them up now before I put myself into an even deeper hole. Let's focus then on Key. He is second. He's on a set of hard compound of tyres. He's second in the championship. Third place, his previous rounds, 5 rounds that we've seen him in, he's been very consistent. He had a DNF in Belgium, but other than that, he's had 3 second places in Germany, Hungary and Italy. Third place in Britain. Surely like a track like Hungary, where it is tight-knit and you can't really make many mistakes, Key should really excel here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the thing is, I think that his teammate is actually a bit superior, but you cannot forget about him, because in some races where we thought that he wouldn't show up, he did. So maybe today he can actually surprise us, but to be honest, I think the favorite today is his teammate.
His teammate is the favourite according to you. He's just came out onto a lap. We'll go on board then with Pariah, who's just starting off on a lap. Very quick outlap that was. Goodness me, we've only had 3 minutes to qualify. And Pariah down towards turn 1. 23 turns, you can count them up as we go along. That's turn 2, now through turn 3. And Pariah looking good. He's on a set of hard compound of tyres. There's a bit of variation by the looks in terms of the compound of tyres. But Pariah now up towards turn 4. Then through the kink at 5, down towards the braking zone, the heavy braking zone, in towards turn 6. In the middle sector, a very technical middle sector as we come to the Anderson Bridge. 27.1 from Pariah through the first sector. He is a man that has already set pole position before out on track, so hopefully he's going to be having a great race out on track tonight. There's yellow flags in sector 2, don't worry about that. Oh, it's actually a Red Bull, I think that is. Might have had a bit of a moment across the Anderson Bridge. We'll come to that in just a second, but Pariah, in the meantime, is coming down towards the Anderson Bridge section now, through the old Singapore sling, now through the Anderson Bridge section, coming across the bridge quite literally, which intertwines a bit of the business half of the city here in Singapore. So, Pariah now on a lap, looking very quick, I've got to say, through this middle sector. It's a 105 flat, pretty much where you want to be, to be honest, on a set of hard compound of tyres around here. And Pariah now into this very twisty and technical final sector, which did catch out Nelson Piquet in 2008. Renault Gate, I think we'll call that. Just coming through that corner, he's just gone through there. Now underneath the grandstand through turns 18 and 19, and then underneath the underpass towards the Singapore Eye, which you can see in the foreground of your shot now. Pariah now through 20 and 21. He's got Tom just in front of him out on track. Hopefully not going to be a hindrance out on track for him. Pariah now through the final corner. Should be seeing the first 138 of the night, and it is. It's a dead-on 138.5 from Pariah. Key across the line, 38.1. Goes 4/10ths quicker. So Key already ahead of Pariah. McLaren already ahead of Toro Rosso early on in qualifying.
Yeah, and it's not surprising for me. He's been pretty quick, and now he's the superhero, the one crossing the finish line. And let's see where he goes. Oh, he goes fastest, but he's on the mediums, so well, yeah, not surprising at all. But it's actually a quite decent time with the mediums.
You've got to be on it. Got to be very wary. Looking at the track guide that I had up last night for TTL F1 League One, from a set of hards to a set of medium compound of tyres, bear in mind it's about 1.6 seconds the difference between hards and mediums around here. So Superhero, you would think, could go quicker, but I think Key and Storm certainly, and Pariah in behind, are certainly holding something back, and will probably go 136s, I think, when they get onto a set of medium compound tyres. But for his first lap, Superhero, very good. He's on provisional pole so far. Mashiro coming through the final sector now, looking through turns 20 and 21, just cutting that a little bit too much, but Mashiro, I should say, coming around the final corner, and he's invalidated through turn 22. 38.3 that would have been, and he would have gone fourth behind Storm by about 200ths of a second if that lap stood. It looked quite neat, but Mashiro picking up that invalidation, and that's going to be, I think, the story of the night, where we're going to see quite a lot of penalties and quite a lot of invalidations out on track.
Yeah, definitely. Singapore is a really strict track for Commentators, and now we can see the has Tom crossing the line with his softs, 140.7. Pretty slow time, but I mean there's still 12 minutes to go, and probably he can improve much more than that.
Yeah, Tom can definitely improve. He is the Welshman, of course, 140.7. Just having a look through the rest of the graphics, and we'll try and cover all of our graphics through qualifying and indeed into the formation lap and indeed into the race. I'll put that memory note on the stream now so you can remind us later on. But looking currently, we're on board with Charlie actually, and Charlie has picked up a 5-second time penalty, and he will be served that after the race for causing a minor incident last week involving Vax Viking last week. He goes fifth with a 38.5, but whatever his time is, whatever position he finishes in the race, a 5-second time penalty will be added on to his time at the end of the race. And we'll just confirm that now by running on board with him. There's the Singapore Eye to the left-hand side. He has invalidated, but I mean a 38.5, not too bad. He's only 7 thousandths off Pariah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not that bad, but I think that, well, actually, it's not that bad. Now that I think about it, I mean, it's actually surprising because I was thinking it was not Charlie, but now I saw it was Charlie, and he has been doing like really not that good in qualifying. I mean, he's generally closing like the top 10, you know. But today it seems he has some pace in Singapore, and probably he can maybe surprise us with a good qualifying.
Yeah, I think he will surprise us, to be honest. But just catching on board with Mashiro, who's through the first sector, 27 flat, as he is now on a flying lap, using ERS Mod 3 coming through turn 7 there, now through the twist and section of turn 8, then down towards the Singapore Sling at turn 9. Remember, this used to be a chicane back in the days. Mashiro going to really attack this. Not sure if you might have caught something else there.
Nah, I didn't want to call out anything. I mean, I was just watching the Red Bull Jeffrey on board, and he just went really close from the wall. I mean, I don't know how he kept that one out from the wall, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to see how Jeffrey progresses during the session. Mashiro, though, through the middle second, we go back on board with him now. Japanese man currently out on top in the standings, 137 points he's got. There's a yellow flag in sector 2 to Toro Rosso. I think just going a little bit slow, but Mashiro coming through underneath the grandstand through turns 18 and 19. One wide of the sausage curb will really throw the car off, but this is looking quite neat. And I've got to be honest, I think this is going to be quicker than Key on terms of hard runners. I don't think it'll be as quick as Superhero as he comes around the final corner. Mashiro crossed the line. Yeah, it goes ahead of his teammate, 37.9, and fastest out of the hard runners by nearly a good 2/10 there.
Yeah, I mean, quite dominant, and now Jeffrey crosses the finish line, but look at his time, not that impressive. 140.4, which is quite off, and we can see puzzles going in between the McLarens with 138.1, but he did that on the softs.
Yeah, he did do that on the softs, and I think in terms of the soft compound tyres, that I've got to be honest and say that might be his reach here tonight in terms of a lap time. 38.1. He could nick into the 37s, I think, but maybe he's going to be towards the bottom end of the field, which would mean I think he might be on fresher tyres coming towards the race. We go on board then with Hades, who's through the middle sector. Looking very quick through the middle sector this. 104.8, going to be in and around Mashiro's sort of pace currently through the middle sector. And Hades, let's see how he wraps up this final sector. Now coming through turns 15 and 16, turns 16 and 17, then in towards turns 18 and 19. Famously, we had PK Gate. You can go back and watch that going free, freely available, I think, on YouTube. Oh, and Hades hits the wall, and that's his left side end plate completely gone off the car.
Will he finish the lap?
And he's hit his right side end plate as well. He's still going to finish the lap. He's running with a T-tray along there. He's going to be... Yeah, Hades going to be... He's finished 9th with a 138.9 there with that lap. But he's carrying, you can see, the T-tray on that wing now. Me and Kieran McGinley were making a bit of a joke, and I've got to throw in a bit of a war analogy. That's VE Day today. I think he's going to be carrying all the biscuits for his teammate, possibly Pariah, 4/10 off him at this stage. That's a horrible pun, I know.
Yeah, definitely. And about the Piquet crash gate, what are you talking about? I mean, as an Alonso fan, I feel offended. Nah, just kidding, of course. But yeah, I think Hatter should have gone into the pits, because he's just now losing time, and probably he could have maybe gone into the pits directly, maybe do another go on hards. But now he's doing an unnecessary lap with a broken front wing. Oh, and Pariah go fastest with the mediums, and actually it's a quite competitive time, 1:36.4, and that's almost 1 second ahead of Superhero.
Yeah, that is the difference between hards and mediums, and just in terms, as I said, 1.6 seconds. Just going to get race director up to show you guys what his lap times were. 1:38.5 to 1:36.4 out on track for Pariah. So that is a difference from hards to mediums of 1.9 seconds he has found from hards to mediums. That's a phenomenal lap time, and it could be a one to beat, to be honest.
Definitely it could be. I mean, I didn't know the gap was that big between the hards and the mediums, but now that I see his lap, actually I find it quite impressive. I mean, probably Mashiro will probably be up there, and probably he will be able to beat it, but it won't be easy. I mean, if he makes any mistake, then and Maximus goes 4th, but on mediums.
Yeah, nice lap that by Maximus. Just caught the end of that, a 38.1. I think he might have made a mistake somewhere right on track. He's just a little bit way off the pace of Superhero. It's about 8 tenths the gap between them both out on track. In fact, it's 7.5 tenths, as I see an invisible mechanic clapping through the wall there. That was very strange. Anyways, Codemasters at its finest. Storm on a lap. Only the one Storm here tonight. YWR Storm not attending due to examination preparations, but we wish him well in his exams for his semester, for this semester coming up. On Monday, I think it is, his exam. Storm coming through the middle sector. I mean, he's 1.7 seconds off, and normally where we see on board with Storm, he's quite cautious, but I think he's giving it the beans on this lap.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna finish the lap. I mean, it would be quite like silly. Like, I don't want to say silly because last week I was in a interesting discussion because I said something I shouldn't have. But we can see, yeah he's going into Storm, the pits.
Yeah. You're completely right. Good prediction that. I thought he was going to go and finish the lap, to be honest, but I think he might just be holding something back. So if people have been watching that stream, they would have seen him 1.7 seconds up in the middle, 1.7 seconds up in the middle sector. That could be, if anybody's been watching the stream, that could be a tactical advantage for the others as opposed to Storm himself.
Maybe. I mean, I don't really know. Like, probably some drivers right now are trying to like gain sometimes, but if you go on the softs, taking like about the race, for example, I see Superhero on soft, and I also see, well, Puzzles in the top 10. But I think going in the softs is just a suicidal move, because after 5 laps, your tires are gonna be dead. And does it really worth it, being ahead of others? I don't know. Ooh, and Kiki invalidates before starting the lap.
Now, that's a shame for Key. Just running on board with Maze, taking very high revs, I've got to say, through his gearing. You can watch him. I'll shut up for a minute and you can listen to his high gearing. Just coming through the end of the middle sector here. I'll shut up now so you can hear his high gearing. Relatively high gearing, I think. He's taking very high RPM. You can see it getting up to about 12,000 RPM in places. Maze coming through the middle sector. I just find that fascinating. Through 16 and 17, and now towards 18 and 19. He is pretty much well up there within the middle sector. Should be going around Mashiro Maximus sort of pace. I'm really going to incorporate a little bit of Spanish accent in there with Maximus's name. Maze coming around the final corner. Looks like he could go third here. He does. 37.5. And only 2 tenths off Superhero. That'll fill him up with a lot of confidence. Good lap, that.
Yeah, definitely for Maze, he's not a bad lap. I mean, he did pretty well. Might we see Super Maze again in Singapore?
Who on earth was that having a moment coming out of the pit lane? Somebody has just broken their front wing. I'm trying to find out who it was. I think it was Conti, if I'm not mistaken. Let's run on board with him. Yeah, right side.
I see his full front wing.
Somebody definitely went into the wall coming out of the pits through turn 3, and I believe it was Conti. I'm not sure. You might, if we can have a replay cam on that. It was just in the background when we were on board with Maze. Just seeing somebody go into the wall. I'm not sure if there was a bit of lag, but Conti, I thought, went into the wall. I might be mistaken. That might be my eyesight going completely there.
Maybe it was your eyes. I'm not sure because I don't see any damage. But by the way, I've seen Maximus went out on the hards. I don't know if he can improve the time he did on mediums. I mean, that would be insane. But interesting move from the Mercedes driver.
Got quite a few cars within the first sector of the lap. Let's take on board with somebody that is on a lap, however, coming down towards turn 4, and it's Key, one of the main championship protagonists out on track. He's currently in second in the championship. Remember the constructors' battle coming into tonight. Toro Rosso need to outscore McLaren by 0.3 of a second. He just messes up slightly coming through turn 6, but holds it very nice and firm to the curb. Axel's getting out of the way to the left-hand side there. He now running down towards the Singapore Sling, which will be the next corner coming up. There is the business skyline. There's the skyline in the foreground of shot of Singapore at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. You're more than welcome to tune in for TTTV and for TTL F1 League 2. Myself and Paco Suarez taking you through this one. You're on board with a lap of Key. And as I said, McLaren need to outscore Toro Rosso. I apologise about that. They need to outscore Toro Rosso by at least 3 points to secure the TTL F1 League 2 Season 17 Constructors Championship. And Key currently doing a good job out on tracks. He nearly kills me. The cameraman, 16 and 17. There's a car getting out of the way to the left-hand side. I think that might have been Jeffrey on a lap. Who was that going up into second? Charlie, I think that was, going second with a 36.7. And Pariah, 36.3 improves.
Yes. And Hades went up to third.
Hades went up to third.
Yeah, now Kiki is going to finish the lap.
Second.
Let's see where...
Get on.
1:36.7.
Only 1400ths of a second though ahead of Charlie, so that might be quite concerning. It could give some of the others a bit of a run in on a set of medium compound of tyres. I'm just trying to see who's on with a lap. Storm is on a lap. He's on a set of mediums, and Mashiro's coming. Yeah, Mashiro's behind him out on track. So we're going forward with Storm. Pariah feels he's done enough. Maybe he has. I'm not so sure though. Storm coming through the middle sector. He's not really doing a good job out on track. I've got to be honest. He's not going to be really competitive with this lap. He goes fifth. A little bit of a disappointment from Storm. Where's Mashiro on his lap?
Fastest.
Oh, he's going fastest by a mile, surely. Yeah. Mashiro, 35.8! Wow, 0.5 of a second, nearly 5.5 of a second ahead of Pariah. Pariah has literally been given the Mashiro treatment right there, and that is exactly what he needs to extend possibly his championship lead coming into tonight. Superhero, by the way, on a set of soft compound of tyres. Maximus is into the pits. Not sure if you saw something there that I didn't.
Tom hitting the wall. He was on a lap and unfortunately he hit the wall. But we can also see other drivers like Axnes that is actually going pretty fast. So he could maybe challenge the top 4 and maybe get a spot in that top 4. And then we can also see Buzz Biking finishing the lap on the Williams. He's actually on the final corners.
Tom not improving across the line. Jeffrey 7/10 up, he's the next one, or one of the next ones to come across the line. We'll see Max Viking across the line now goes 13th. Jeffrey coming around the final corner, should go ahead of Axnes, I think, in here. And he does, and he goes 10th. Axnes across the line goes 3rd, 36.4. Nice lap there. But watch out for Superheroes. They're on a set of soft compound of tyres. I'm not sure what his middle sector was like, but Superhero coming around the final corner. He is going, he's invalidated. That wasn't invalidated on my screen.
On the I think he did on the last corner.
He did it on the last corner, that'll make sense then. That'll make sense. So he finishes in 8th on a set of medium compound of tyres in the end for Superhero. Everyone in the top 10 qualifying on a set of mediums, but Mashiro really sticks it to them. Nearly 5.5 ahead of Pariah, and McLaren in prime spot to take the Constructors' battle here tonight. Pariah in 2nd in qualifying, Access in 3rd with Key in 4th. Charlie, good qualifying from him, much better than expected in 5th. Hales in 6th with Storm in 7th. Superhero in 8th. It'll be very interesting to see how those two get on, knowing their history that I've commentated on them in the past on the 4th row of the grid. Watch out for that one. Mays in 9th, Conti in 10th, Jeffrey, Maximus, Passelt, Vax, Viking and Tom. Everyone got a lap in, which really comes to the nature of the track. And I thought we would have seen a few invalid laps there and not many people actually getting a lap in.
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising. I thought almost everyone would be able to get a good lap in, but it didn't seem like it. And about the race, can we actually skip it and give like the trophy already to Mashiro? Because I don't think in any way that he's gonna bottle it. I mean, he's quite ahead of the rest, and I find it quite difficult that he actually doesn't win today.
But this is Singapore, and one commentator in F1 used to say, nothing. I forgot the phrase. Crap. This is live. This is live on the stream. Anyways, let's have a look at the track. Let's escape from my digging of the hole there. 31 laps to wait the drivers out on track, 23 turns, a lap distance of 5 kilometres and a race distance of just over 157 kilometres out on track. We're about to go on to the formation lap now. This track, this is going to be quite tight. Nothing is a certainty, I think I was trying to say with that phrase. Nothing is a certainty in Formula 1. And Mashiro, you might have said he can be handed the championship. Remember, we've got 4 rounds to go, and nothing is set in stone until these guys cross the line at the end of lap 31. So bear that in mind before you start making any predictions within the comment section. And I'm going to give you some love as well in the comment section. I feel like I've been leaving these guys out in the comment section tonight. I'll cut over to you, Paco. Obviously, we won the formation lap and we're coming towards the middle sector now. Mashiro, your vote for the win?
So, are we talking about prediction then?
We are talking about predictions. Let's get our predictions done during the formation lap, and then I'll talk about the strategies.
Alright, I'm gonna be quite risky, alright? Today I'm gonna play risky. I'm gonna put Mashiro in first. I'm gonna put Pyraya in second. And, watch out, I'm gonna put Axnes in third. Wow.
Axnes in third. Quite interesting. You can see the predicted tyre strategies up on your screen right now. Lap 1 will be a set of mediums. They can go throughout from lap 8 to lap 11, and then it's a one-stop strategy to the end of the race on a set of hard compound tyres. Soft compound tyres, luckily no one is using this strategy, are on a set of soft compound tyres lap 1 to lap 4 to lap 7 in terms of a pit window, and then guys will be going set of hards possibly to the end of the race. You can make mediums go to the end of the race for 22 laps, although it's going to be very, very hard going out on track. And those are the predicted tyre strategies. Apologies, I might have been about 10 seconds late. I saw the graphic go off, and yeah. But your top 3, just remind us again.
Mashiro, Pyraya, and Axnes. Quite risky. I mean, I'm being risky.
Quite risky. Quite risky. I'm going to be even riskier, I think, with my top 3. I honestly think it's going to be a McLaren 1-2. I think Mashiro and Key in that order. But for third, I'm going to have to give Storm a bit of a look in 7th. Him and Superhero have had a great battle in the past around here in Singapore. They have really driven astute, and it's fantastic to see them both on the fourth row of the grid here, Storm and Superhero. Watch out for them two battling, because trust me, they respect each other. This it could be a really good race between those two, so just watch out to see how our newcomer gets on. But we are just moments away from those 5 red lights going out. Mashiro to lead us off on the line. Round 8 of the championship about to begin here in Singapore for TTL F1 League 2. Lights out and away we go. What are the starts like? Superhero bogs down off the start later, up further on in the background of the field. Then Mashiro down towards turn 1 leads the way from Pariah in second. A little bit of a contact moment on the inside. Looks like Hades was getting quite close. Superhero and back to Viking, I think, are round. Superhero already round through turns 1 and 2, so he's not having the greatest start at all. Axnes already up to third. Hades down the inside of Charlie, gets the move done. Charlie, I think, had to give right away at the corner there. Storm is through on Maze, he's up to 7th. And Maze has had a good one, and there's a Mercedes in the background having a contact with the wall. That was Maximus. Everyone looking clean through towards the middle sector though, and it's Mashiro who's got the break early by 6/10 of a second. From Pariah in second, Axnes third, Key in fourth, Hades in fifth, Charlie in sixth, Storm in seventh, Maze in eighth, Conti in ninth, Jeffrey in 10th, Tom Parcells, back Spiky, Maximus and Superhero, who I think has lost a little bit of his front wing and he's lagging profusely out on track, which is not really a great sign for Superhero. Hopefully he can turn off his devices and everything while he is driving. Axnes on the back of Pariah as we come across the Anderson Bridge. Nearly a little bit of a tap there actually on the back of Pariah, but Axnes on the back, and you go, ooh, in the background. What happened?
I mean, Superhero was trying. I mean, he tried an overtake on Maximus on a part of the circuit. Do you know where Massa actually launched the car to the inside?
Yeah.
In that sort of hairpin. Well, he tried something similar.
He tried something similar. Well, he's got to be quite aggressive at this stage, because obviously he's down there in 15th position, trying to get past Maximus. He's a second down now off the back of Maximus and lagging quite profusely, as I say. So we'll try and limit to go on board with him. But Mashiro leads 1.4 seconds coming across the line. It's 1.5 seconds the gap pretty much coming across the line. From Pariah in second, Axnes in third, Key in fourth, Hades in fifth, Charlie in sixth, Storm in seventh. Mace has dropped down to 8th and has dropped off the back, but Jeffrey's chasing in 9th. Tom holding up Parcells a little bit. Sorry, Jeffrey holding up Tom in 10th, with Tom now in 11th. Parcells in 12th, Max Viking 13th, Maximus 14th, Superhero 15th. Everyone clean through turn 1. Lap 1, I should say, and Mashiro leads by 1.6 seconds, but who's going to get second? Because Axnes is down the inside on Pariah, but he's not going to try it. He's going to have to wait for that DRS zone. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. Superhero has had a moment coming through turn 4, and Pariah lagging a little bit. I wonder if there's a little bit of lag actually going on my end. Am I fine on your end? Or is it just the lobby?
Yeah, no, I think it's just the lobby. I mean, I'm not watching. I'm not seeing that many people with lag. It's just the house probably.
Yeah.
But your connection is fine.
My connection is fine. That is good to report. Just having a bit of a moment. Oh, and Access has gone into the back of Pariah, coming into the hairpin. Luckily, no front wing damage at all. Axnes 6/10 now of a second off Pariah. That was just a bit of an overcommitment and a bit of loss on the brakes, I think, there for Axnes. Nearly careened into the back of Pariah. He is one very lucky boy to not pick up any damage there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he braked a bit late. Probably he didn't expect Pariah to brake that early. And he almost hits the rear. Well, he actually hit it, but he was lucky to not cause a big crash.
For Pariah, 2.7 seconds off the back of Mashiro. Mashiro has absolutely flown away from the start. Nearly 3 seconds gap coming on to lap 3. I mean, come on, he's gained 1.5 seconds per lap out of the first 2 laps out on track. Pariah in second, Axnes in third. Key in fourth, but very interesting to see a little bit of team orders could come into play for the 2 racing points. Charlie and Storm, these are in 6th and 7th currently out on track as they come towards the Singapore Eye once again for the 3rd time out on track. Remember, 31 laps out on track and Storm on the back of Charlie, but this DRS train spans from Pariah all the way back to Storm. Axel trying to look to the inside line. Storm is looking to the outside line on Charlie, trying to get the move done around the outside of turn 6. Not going to get the move done there. But it's very tricky around this track to get an overtake done, as actually Passel just makes it look pretty easy. Around the outside of turn 6, that's what Storm should have done on Charlie, but Passel has got the move done. And Tom is trying to have a go back at him around the outside of turn 8. Oh, and he spins the car opposite lock. And Vax Viking wasn't collected in that, I'm glad to say. Superhero wasn't either. Very lucky not to have any succinct collisions as a result of that. But Tom just purely losing the back end there. That'll be on replay. It was on helicopter cam as well. Tom just looked like he lost the back end, oversteered and then into the wall. And it's as simple as that. So first mistake from Tom out on track. And Suhasa's not really doing a good job, but a four-way battle for second now beginning to get going as Charlie's just dropped off on the back of Hades. But Mashiro, 3.1 seconds ahead, but I've got to be honest, he's lost a little bit of time on this lap compared with his previous 2 laps, where he gained 1.5 seconds. He's only gained about 0.3 on this lap.
Yeah, surprising, right? I mean, probably the McLaren engineers telling him to relax.
Oh, I was going to say, here comes Access down the inside of Pariah. Not going to get the move done. Sorry, continue.
No, yeah, probably the engineers telling the McLaren driver to actually relax, and probably Mashiro saying it's just for satisfaction, you know, like Vettel said once. But yeah, I mean, Mashiro is actually dominating, and if I was him, I wouldn't actually risk it, because imagine crashing into the wall. Oh, look, the Alfa Romeo, I think he's going to dive into the inside.
Oh, great move down the inside. Yeah. Absolutely signs, seals and delivers it down the inside. Axnes putting, I was going to say torpedo down the inside, but that's probably not the right word to think about in terms of a war reference. But Axnes, anyways, has signed that like a letter in a message in a bottle, like they did in the 1940s, and Axnes is through and he's up to second. That's a better analogy.
Yeah, and let's see if he actually has more pace than Pariah. I mean, the laps he was behind the Toro Rosso driver, he showed that he was quite noticeably faster. So let's see if he can now pull a gap. I mean, I think he needs that to actually pull a gap. I don't know if he's quicker than Mashiro, but probably quicker than Pariah.
Yeah, I think Axnes will pull away for second, and Pariah will come back, I think, into the likes of Key and Hades out on track. And just speaking about the McLarens coming into tonight's race, again, remember, they need to outscore Toro Rosso by at least 3 points out on track to secure the title. And currently, right on board with Key coming around the final corner and having a bit of an opposite lock moment coming out the final corner. Goodness me, nearly, if he floored that, it would have sent the car into a bit of a half spin. Axnes, 3-second time penalty through the exit of turn 2, I think that was. But Key doing a good job out on track. And remember, as I say, 3 points needed for McLaren, and certainly they're going the right way because both McLarens are outscoring the Toro Rossos at this stage. Key obviously behind Pariah, but Mashiro out in front is McLaren outscoring Toro Rosso at this stage.
Yeah, but I think honestly, Hades and Well, I don't know about Pariah, but I think Hades actually has more pace than Kiki, and maybe if his teammate is able to block Kiki, maybe Hades can actually go through, and maybe there is team orders, and he can actually pull a gap. You know, I think Terrosa today might have plenty of options to actually try and reduce the gap to the McLaren rivals.
Pariah is really struggling actually out on track. Let's have a look at the position changes from early on in the race. There's not really been many position changes. Passelt has gained 2 positions. Most positions gained. There's been quite a few position gains, but only by about 1 or 2. Axnes, Hades, Mays, Conti, Jeffrey, the other gainers out on track. Superheroes lost 5 positions. The real gainer, and the real loser actually. But everyone else has pretty much stayed where they were out on track, apart from losing a position in terms of Pariah and Charlie. And Pariah is just losing the pace and losing the back of Axnes, but Axnes is not as quick as Mashiro, and that's why he's going to be in a bit of no man's land as we approach the second half of this race. Hades on the back of Key, coming out the final corner. Goodness me, Storm in the background of shot. Wow, so wide. I thought he was making a break to the Chinese border there. Storm in 7th position. Guy must have felt a little bit of you know what came out there.
Yeah, and we can see it right now. Hades all over, well, not all over the back, but we can see Kiki struggling to overtake Pariah, and that's gonna cost him a lot of time. Another lap behind the Toro Rosso driver, and that's now 2 laps already. As you said, Axnes pulling away. It doesn't seem like he's faster than Mashiro though. I mean, he's probably keeping the gap stable, you know, 3.6, 3.7. But yeah, I think probably P1 and P2 could actually be decided already.
Oh, Charlie has a moment coming across the Anderson Bridge. Storm to the inside line. Trying to go for the switchback on the exit of the corner here. Charlie just making a mistake. He got very close to the wall just before the Anderson Bridge. And now Storm is right on the back of him. No DRS, remember, coming down this straight. There should be, I think. Storm coming and not on the back of Charlie. And remember, Charlie coming into tonight's race as well has picked up a 5-second time penalty for an incident with Vax Viking last week in Italy. So that is costly. So currently, in theory, he hasn't picked up any penalties just yet. Just working it out, he'd be down to 9th position if things stayed as they are.
Yeah, and to be honest, do you think actually the train that Pariah is causing could actually help Make? Do you think Make could actually catch this group? Oh,
Storm! Down the inside. I was just going to cut on board with him because he had a bit of a half look down to the corner. Charlie was quite slow going into the corner. I was running from his point of view. Storm just suddenly appeared down the inside and just overcommitted it, and he essentially went for a gap that was closing. Let's just be honest there. He went for a gap that was closing, and Storm now down to 9th position. Very rare, I've got to say, we see a mistake from Storm.
Yeah, definitely. Generally, he's Mr. Cautious, you know?
Yeah.
But today he was sort of Maldonado, we could say. He actually risked it.
Just got to get back into his rhythm is Storm, 4.6 seconds. As my commentator speaks to somebody in the background there, as I can tell. Hades on the back of Kilo for 5th position. For 4th position, in fact. Pariah just beginning to hold these up. I think, honestly, I've got to agree to an extent with Mays. He is beginning to get a little bit closer to the back of Charlie when it's 3 seconds the gap. But I would be looking, to be honest, at this battle for 3rd, continuing on, and they're beginning to get away from Charlie. So I think these 3 are now going to have a bit of a squabble between themselves. Speaking of having a squabble, Maximus is down the inside in towards turn 14, trying to get the move done on Passelt. Great move by Maximus down the inside. Passelt had no luck in there, and he's through, and he's up into 11th position, and that is a Haas that is round in the first sector. That is Tom, who obviously pitted, I think, twice. No, he's pitted once, but he is round through turn 4. I think he got caught in the inside curve there and spun the car. But Maximus, good move, and he's up to 11th, and Superhero beginning to recover well into this race as well. He's on the back of Passelt for 12th position.
Yeah, and Storm pits. It was
Retirement?
kind of obvious. I mean, I don't know what tires is he gonna pit. I will tell you in a minute as he gets closer to his pit crew. And yeah, it hurts. So hards until the end. I mean, it was kind of obvious because he overheated the tires after that spin, and it's understandable that he pitted. And we can see now this group of three, Puzzles, Superhero, and Maximus. I think Maximus is gonna pull away, and in order for Superhero to actually have a shot on Maximus, I think he has to make the move as quick as possible to the Renault.
Key obviously going to be the first one up in that, as Pariah just makes a slight mistake coming across on the curb coming onto the Anderson Bridge, but Key doing a good job out on track in fourth. And just to remind you about the previous 5 rounds of Key's performances, 3rd place in Britain, 3 second places, all in Germany, Hungary and Italy, and 1 only DNF in Belgium. And if it wasn't for that DNF in Belgium, I think he'd be a lot closer to Mashiro than what he is coming into tonight. It's 32 points coming into tonight. Key has got a massive chance, I think, to get Pariah here, but around this track it is so hard to overtake. And this is what we're finding out on track, as Tom retires from the session in the pit lane, so he has had enough, and he was down in 15th as well, so Tom has retired in the pit lane. But Key just losing a bit of time to the back of Pariah now, 8/10 of a second. But as I say, if it wasn't for that DNF in Belgium, where he had the crash, I think coming through a Rouge, he would be a lot closer to Mashiro than what he actually is.
Yeah, but if we start talking about the mistakes that every driver has done, you know, and that they could have avoided, then we should talk about Mashiro in the first 2 or 3 rounds. And he would actually be in the lead by more points than what he is actually. But talking, I mean, about Tom retirement, I think he did well, because I think he was having flashbacks from Abu Dhabi, you know, in the Challenge Cup. And that it's frustrating, you know, when you're in the back, you're having a bad race, and in the end, sometimes you have to be clever and quit, because there's no point in driving when you're being frustrated, you know.
Yeah, I think Tom was doing a good job out on track. I think he just made a couple of mistakes. He hit the arm core barriers either to the left or to the right, picked up damage and ended up into the wall. Mays has lost a lot of time to Charlie, by the way. He hasn't carried any damage. He's just purely not catching Charlie out on track. But Charlie has got himself onto this queue for 3rd position. They're all social distancing well, which I'm glad to see, and they're all 2 meters apart at this stage. But Pariah leads Key, Hades and Charlie for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th position, as Hades in fact just makes a little bit of contact, I think, with Key coming under the grandstand.
Yeah, I couldn't catch that, to be honest, but we can see, and Key into the pits, yeah, and both Toro Rosso stays out, and that's pretty weird.
Both also staying out, but I think they're trying to go a little bit longer into the race to try and maximise those hard compounded tyres towards the end. I mean, what we speak about in terms of the pit window coming into tonight, and I'll get it up from last night on my graphic when I can find it. Mediums to hards, anywhere between lap 6 and lap 11 is where the pit window is around here in Singapore. For hards to mediums, for the alternate guys like the likes of Jeffrey, Maximus and Parcells, that is lap 18 to lap 23 on a pit window. And the tyre delta from mediums to hard, as I said, 1.6 seconds. That was seen beautifully, I think, in qualifying with Pariah's lap time, where he obviously qualified well up there on track and finished, I think, 2nd in qualifying. But the difference between mediums to soft, if anybody was to go soft towards the end of the race, is only 8/10 per lap. But in terms of the race, it's probably double that, I think.
I mean, I think it's like you've said. But to be honest, I mean, talking about the pit window and what the Toro Rosso guys have done, I don't see the point. I mean, because now, if Pariah pits, probably Hades won't be able to. And if I was Hades, I would have pitted with Kiki. Because
here comes Mashiro. Sorry, it's got in. Mashiro was into the pits from the lead of the race and responds to Key's movement. I think there's been a little bit of communication there. Axnez is in, Pariah is in, but Hades stays out. To be honest, I think I would have been the other way around. I think Hades should have pitted first, because Pariah had right of way out on track. It's a bit of a weird one, that. I think Hades should have pitted first over Pariah. Not sure if you agree.
He was behind, and
He was looking quicker
there's
though.
no point. Yeah, but there's no point on a teammate doing the undercut. I mean, I think Piraya is in all his right to actually pit early. Let's see if he's ahead of Kiki. I think it's gonna be actually a close call as they go side by around the outside.
Oh, Key down the inside of back Viking through turn 3. Can he get the move done? He can. Key down the inside. Beautiful move. Gets the move done. Oh, and he's gone down the inside of Pariah. And there's right side, the left side end plate come off that car. Key just going for a move that wasn't there. And there's also damage, I think, to Pariah, if I'm not mistaken. But he hit the wall. No, he hasn't. It's somebody ahead that hit the wall, I think. It might have been Jeffrey, I think, if I can just run on board. Yeah, left side end plate damage, I think, for Jeffrey. Maximus is going down the inside into the Singapore sling. Goodness me, he's not going to commit this, is he? And that was never going to end well. That was never, ever, ever going to end well. I'm not sure what Maximus might have been thinking there, but 2 into the Singapore sling doesn't work, and that's what we've just found out there.
Yeah, just why? I mean, why would it... Like, the space, I mean, it was practically non-existent, and I don't see, like,
Key down the inside of Passelt, sorry to cut in. Key down the inside of Passelt. I mean, he's got front wing damage. He's just made that look pretty easy. He's through and he's up to 7th. Sorry, cut in, and now Pariah is getting through on Passelt as well. But trying to go around the outside of turn 17? Around the outside of turn 18? Oh, brilliant stuff by Pariah. That is unbelievable. I mean, given he's on 10-lap all tyres, Passel's, Pariah's just made that look pretty easy. And Hades and Charlie into the pits.
Yeah, and I think this is going to help Hades massively and Charlie. I think they are going to actually be ahead of Kiki and Pariah, and we're going to see now as they go out of the pit lane. Oh,
Hades is behind Key.
That was close. Yeah, but actually the turn was a side by side. No, side by side. Actually, they're side by side. And I think it's gonna. I don't know if there's gonna be team orders, but we can see that definitely. I mean, the Throroso drivers did really bad in terms of strategy, but we can see Hades catching up really quickly. Yeah, and he's going round the outside. I don't think Perez is gonna defend that. And meanwhile, behind Charlie, behind Malc Viking, and well, if I was him, I would actually try to overtake as quick as possible, because he might have a chance to actually catch up to this group between like Pariah, Hades and Kiki, because now that the McLaren has some damage, that could actually be crucial for Hades and Pariah to actually catch the McLaren.
Yeah, I think Charlie's got to make a commit. That's like he nearly goes off and down into the runoff area, actually down into the hairpin. Charlie right on the back of him. Not going to commit to move down in towards turn 15, I think that is out on track. If I'm not mistaken, it is. It's turn 15. And Charlie out on track doing a good job. Key 3 second time penalty just picked up as I nearly crashed my foot through my bin, as you probably would have heard in the background there. Maythlow into the pits from the lead of the race, and he's doing a good job out on track. He should be in and around Charlie Conti sort of area, I think, when he comes out of the pit lane. Mashiro leads, new fastest lap of the race. I think that was a 38.6 if I'm not mistaken. Axner's now in second, with Key now in third. Hades in fourth, Pariah in fifth, but look at Charlie, he's on the back of Vax Viking, here he comes down the inside towards turn 1, and the Racing Point man sign seals and delivers that, and he's through and he's up into 7th position. 1 down, 1 to go for Charlie.
Yeah, now Charlie has Passelt in front. He has actually lost quite some time to Pariah and Hades, but maybe it's not the end. There's still plenty of race, plenty of things that can happen. But definitely today, Charlie doing a really good race, and I feel happy for him because he was not having an easy season. But in the last few races, he has been actually doing quite better.
Remember, actually, Charlie, I think, is on for his best result of the season. Maximus has retired coming into the pit lane. So Maximus, I think, must have picked up front wing damage. A very hard track this here in Singapore, and Maximus is our 2nd retirement of the night. Key, however, under pressure. I wonder if he's going to be challenging Toxic from last night. Remember Toxic had pretty much a T-tray going round out on track within the second half of the race, defended so valiantly and finished 4th in the end. Key is in exactly the same position with his left side end plate, where Toxic picked up right side end plate damage as well. Key has got to try and manage Hades and Pariah in behind, but with 2 Toro Rossos and with the Constructors' Championship up for grabs, Key is going to do whatever it takes to defend these positions.
Yeah, but to be honest, we have to bear in mind who is who. I mean, we know Kiki, you know, is a cautious driver, you know, that he doesn't turn to risk it that much, while Toxic is always in the position to do whatever it takes, as you said. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Kiki does in order to defend that 3rd spot. But I don't think, to be honest, I hope he does because he deserves it. But I don't think he's gonna be able to.
You don't think he's going to be able to? Well, that's quite interesting because I think he might just hold the back of Hades, and it could let the likes of Charlie into play later on in the race, as Hades in fact just makes a slight mistake. Pariah having a bit of a look in down towards the Singapore sling, no too wide luckily down into here like Maximus earlier on, but Key in 3rd, Hades 4th and Pariah in 5th. Just having a look through the comments, somebody has put in, and I'm going to make an absolute mockery I think of this name, so I apologise in advance. Kayanka Kamdem, who likes Hamilton? Own up in the comment section if you like Hamilton. Judging by no responses in that comment section, I don't think anybody likes Hamilton.
I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna be the one who judges, but he said it, not me.
Yeah, I think, if I've got to be honest, from my perspective, Hamilton is probably one of the greatest F1 drivers I think we've probably ever seen grace the track, as, in the meantime, somebody that is gracing the track quite literally in the sim world is Hades, and he's on the back of Key. Key is trying to break the toe down towards turn 1, and Hades is trying to think about it all the way around the outside. Can he get the move done? It's side by side now through towards turn 3. Pariah could have a bit of a look in here as well. Pariah could really dominate here. Charlie and Passes are going side by side. It's all kicked off out of absolutely nothing. See, the Hamilton comment has gone down very well. Key, Hades and Pariah, 3rd, 4th and 5th. We take this from Pariah's point of view. Here comes Hades, but look at Pariah. It's not going to be 3 wide, is it, down towards? Oh, Key's on the inside. He's uncommitted it slightly. Pariah trying to go around the outside. He's very, very brave. Hades down the inside line. Pariah could get through here. This is for Constructors, remember. Hades has got through on Key, but now Pariah could have a bit of a look in down towards the Singapore sling, and I don't think he'll be risking side by side through here, so I can safely say Key will hold on into 4th position, but Hades is through and he's up to 3rd. Good move.
Yeah, definitely it was. I mean, he was quite decided about the move.
Oh, Pariah into the back of Key. Sorry to cut in on you there, Paco, but Pariah just completely outbroke himself into the hairpin. I don't think he really judged Key. He essentially used him as a brake mark, if I've got to be honest there. So Pariah and Key, 4th and 5th. And is the left side end plate damage? There is. Pariah has picked up left side end plate damage. So now Key and Pariah even in terms of damage. So I think these guys may stay as they are.
Probably they will, and that will definitely help Charlie. I think he's gonna be able to maybe catch. I don't know how fast he's gonna catch, but definitely it's gonna help massively. And we can see Kiki already out of the DRS range. Meanwhile, the Toro Rosso driver, it's quite all over the McLaren, and I don't know if he's gonna be able to try the move because now they're pretty equal, and I don't know if Pariah will want to actually risk it, but it's gonna be quite interesting to see how each driver manage the situation as they both have damage.
He's certainly not going to be close enough down towards the down towards turn 6. Somebody that might be close enough though is his teammate. It's Charlie's teammate Storm, and Storm out on track is on the back of Patel down towards the end of the middle sector. Conti has gone through and back spiking as well just in behind, and Maze is involved in this battle as well. A lot of battling begins to happen. This is what we missed, I think, in terms of the racing last night in TTL F1 League 1. You can go and watch that back if you want. Storm is not going to a little bit of a bump there from Storm on the back of This is looking very close, and Stormer's just got to judge this right. He doesn't want to pick up any front wing damage. And is he going to get the switchback? He's not going to go around the outside of the hairpin, is he? No, he's not. He'll switch it back. Can he get the move done? What a great traction he's got. He's going to go around the outside of turn 15 here, I think, Storm. Can he get the move done? Passos lets him through, so Storm is through and he's up into 7. That was easier than you would expected. And Maze is down the inside of Vax Viking as well. Takes full advantage of that. So one Renault down, one Renault up a position. Passos down to 8th, Maze up to 10th. Good move by Maze.
Yeah, definitely it was. The racing point and the Renault doing actually good moves. And I have to say, Storm doing a quite interesting comeback after that mistake. And the question now remains, I mean, will he be able to catch his teammate? We will have the second part to that battle they had before.
I've got to be honest, 5 seconds on 9-lap all tyres already is a bit of a concern. Storm will obviously get to the end of those, don't get us wrong, on that set of tyres, but Charlie has just got too much of an advantage, I think, when you just saw him fly through shot. And Charlie, I've got to be honest, if Key and Pariah pick up more damage, Charlie I could see in a top 4 position by the end of this race.
Actually, he's catching. I didn't notice
until
you mentioned it. Yeah, and he's catching quite fast. He was 4 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, and now he's half the gap, 2 seconds.
4.5. It was 4.5 seconds the gap, and it's now down to 2 seconds. So and I've done it again. He just got caught on the inside of the hairpin. Oh, that is such a shame for Charlie, and unfortunately for me, that is another commentator's curse. He just purely got caught on the inside. His left rear wheel got caught on the inside of the hairpin, and just when he was beginning to catch as well, he's now let his teammates through. And Charlie, you can stop laughing in the background with my curse there. Goodness me, Charlie is now down into 7th position. But I think he's probably got the pace to catch on the back of Storm, so top 6 is not out of the question just yet. Conti as well is getting into this as well. He's now in 9th.
Yeah, I mean, Conti and Mace, they're having good pace. And I think that I don't know if Passos will actually try to defend the position, but if actually Mace and Conti are able to push, I think those 3, Charlie, Conti and Mace, could actually try and catch Storm again. And I don't know if actually Storm will be able to catch the McLaren and the Toro Rosso, because he has already in a lap, he has already reduced the gap by 1 second. So he might be up for the battle for 4th.
Yeah, he's certainly looking quicker than Pariah. I mean, 6.2 seconds the gap currently, and Storm is beginning to close that gap, albeit by a couple of tenths per lap. But Storm is beginning to close in that gap. Hassel's still valiantly going on into 8th position. Remember, he's still got to pit. Otherwise, he'll from the race as well, so that is unfortunate. Just to speak about the leader of the race, by the way, Mashiva was now nearly 10 seconds away. I didn't realise that gap was quite as big as what I made out to be, but Mashiva leads by 9.7 seconds from Axnes in 2nd. Hades is in 3rd. We're more than halfway through the race now. Key in 4th, Pariah in 5th. Storm now in 6th as a result of Charlie's commentator's curse. Passos in 8th, Conti in 9th, Maze in 10th, and the battle for 8th really getting going here. Superhero, by the way, is still in 11th, and I'm surprised actually he's still in this race with his lag. Not to be sarcastic or anything, but just purely, I mean, we're right on board with him, and his lag was quite bad earlier. It looks like it's sorted itself out now, which is good to see. And Passos coming into the pits, and now that frees Conti and Maze for P8 and P9. Respectively, and Superhero is going to be winning the points, and thinking he was right at the back earlier on and had a mistake through turn 1. He's really caught well, and he's beginning to get into this race slowly but surely. Is he an outside chance for top 8?
It's actually quite an interesting question. I mean, I think he maybe has some more pace than Maintain Conti, but it's a difficult question to answer right now. I mean, we'll have to see in a couple of laps to see if he has actually caught up. But right now, look at Storm, look at Charlie. We can see Storm already 4.5 behind Pariah. He was 6 seconds. When we actually mentioned about maybe the chances of him catching up, and now he's 3.9. And then about Charlie, he's also catching up slowly to his teammates. So I don't know, but I think things are shaping up quite interestingly for the end of the race.
Yeah, longer term, I think certainly Storm is beginning to catch Pariah, and I think this is a real question of Pariah's pace, what it has been like. Since he got that front wing damage, he's been consistent, but he's now beginning to drop off that pace, and I mean he's on fresher tyres than Key. Key is going quicker than him out on track. Pariah 2.4 seconds behind, but Storm is beginning to bridge that gap. Charlie as well beginning to bridge that gap. Closest battle is between Conti and Maze. I'm going to quickly check the comment section. Hopefully I don't get an internet connection broadcasting message on the top right of my screen again, like I just did when I tried to go on to Discord, and that has came through, by the way, on my stream. Let me just see if we can load up the comment section. Charlie driving very strong. I think that was about a minute before that curse happened. Yeah. Less we say about that, the better, I think.
Double cursing of the driver. I mean, you know, two guys actually cursing the driver. Unbelievable.
Terrible. Terrible. I don't think you'll see us get paid to do this in real life, I think, with me, especially commentating, cursing some of the drivers out on track tonight. But Mashiro, 7.8 seconds, the gap. Has he got damage? He has! Left side end plate damage! Mashiro's got damage! Left side end plate! So he's hit the wall somewhere. Don't know where.
The engineers were already telling him to calm down, but, you know, he didn't listen. He continued to push. Probably he made a mistake. This is what happens. I mean, he's lucky to continue in the race because it could have been much worse. But this is what I mean. You know, when you have that much pace, you actually have to be clever. Don't risk it. You know, be like, for example, Niki Lauda. You know, that was a quite intelligent driver when reading the races, and he should do the same. But today, probably he was maybe way too over-aggressive. But we will see at the end of the race if that damage could cost him the win.
It's costing him time, certainly out on track. 7.2 seconds is a big margin to gain around here in Singapore. I mean, the lap is like 140s long, especially at the start of this stint. It'll be about a 140 now. Axel is beginning to bridge in that gap, and with my brilliant point out of left side end plate damage for Mashiro, it's now beginning to bring Axel into contention, especially where he's going to be better off than Mashiro around the track. Is this middle sector? We should see him gain a lot of time coming through here, and that's exactly proven as he's already gained nearly 0.2 of a second as he comes through the Anderson Bridge section and now through the hairpin there, and he's beginning to bridge that gap, and the final sector especially could be strong for Access, as that, I think, was that Hades going a little bit wide, I think, coming out of, not sure who that might have been. That definitely looked like Hades going a little bit wide off the hairpin. Thought he hit the wall, but he didn't. Might just bring my eyes out again.
I mean, I was watching Storm that is catching pretty quickly to Pariah. He's already 1.4 behind the Toro Rosso. And probably in one lap gap, he'll probably be all over the Toro Rosso driver. And we'll have to see. KK picks up a 3-second time penalty. That will be crucial at the end of the race, because we can see that Storm is picking up his pace and he's been able to catch both drivers. So I think penalties will play an important role.
Yeah, it's 1.2 seconds the gap. Oh, it's actually a second now the gap. As soon as I've said that, Storm really on the back of Pariah. I was just running on board with Vax Viking and Passel because that was the closest battle out on track. Passel's now beginning to drop off the pace slightly. But Storm is doing a good job out on track, and I've got to be honest and say this is probably one of his better drives from being under pressure so far this season. We haven't seen him make a mistake so far this season. He made that mistake and he's recovered well, and I think this is a characteristic of Storm's driving out on track. He's recovered very well out on track. He's not only pulling away, he's not only getting on Parade, but he's pulling away from Charlie as well. And Storm doing a fantastic job out on track. I mean, 0.8 of a second, he might be past them within the next 2 laps.
I would like to tell you to choose your words wisely. I mean, last time you talked well about a driver, happened what happened, you know? And here, I mean, Storm is doing a great recovery. I mean, we have to remember that he was involved in an incident with his teammate.
Passel's down the inside of back to Viking. That was for 12th position. Sorry to cut in. I caught that late, but Passel's got the move done. Used up a lot of his ERS, but gets the move done. He's up into 12th. Sorry, what were you saying there?
Yes, saying that Storm was involved in an incident with his teammate. He has made a really good comeback. Now he is behind the Toro Rosso. Probably he'll overtake him in the DRS zone. And he is probably aspiring for top 4 as he picks up a 3-second time penalty. But I think it's one of his first penalties. I will have to check later.
I think it was his first 3-second time penalty, if not his second, I think.
Third. It's third. My bad.
It's third?
Yeah.
Oh, well. That was a slight half commentator's curse there, if I've got to be honest from you. I'm not going to give you the full credit, though. Storm on the back of Pariah. This is for 5th and 6th position. The Racing Point man on the back of the Toro Rosso team, and the Toro Rosso and Racing Point quite close within the constructors standing. Storm now down the inside, can he get the move done? But he's not going to be lured into the same scenario where he had with Charlie. He tried to go up the inside of Charlie, and look what happened there. Storm being cautious, as is his nickname here in TTL F1 League 2.
Yeah, I mean, learning from previous mistakes. And seriously, James, I mean, I know you feel bad because you actually cursed Charlie, but don't put the blame on me on that penalty, alright? I mean, I'm not cursing anybody, alright? But we can see Storm taking alternative lines, trying to actually surprise Pariah. But I think Storm has to be really, really close in just before the DRS zone, because if not, I think it's gonna be impossible to actually make the move.
I've got to tell you, have you seen the gap for the lead? 4.7 seconds, as Axnes just picks up a 3-second time penalty. If you don't mind, we'll run on board with the penalties in a couple of laps' time, but Axnes 4.5 seconds currently in the back. I think he's picked up a couple of penalties. He might be on the same start as Storm, and Jeffrey has gone off through turn 15, that is. So Jeffrey is off. We're right on board with Passel's. There he is on the left-hand side of the car. I think he's just gone a bit too deep for the corner. And Storm on the back of Pariah again, not going for the move.
Yeah, I mean, I think through his head came up some flashbacks, you know, about the previous incident, because he was doing the same move that he did to Charlie, but this time he actually braked and he avoided making the move. Let's see if he's going to launch it now. I mean, he has to do it.
Now's the time. Sure. Down the inside, he's going to have a half commitment into the corner, but again, I think Pariah just had a better traction coming out the corner. That was fair play to Pariah, defend the position well, and he's still in 5th.
Yeah, and it's ruining his race, because he was actually catching pretty fast to Kiki and Pariah, but now he is stuck behind the Toro Rosso. And I have to say, I mean, I have to give full credit to Pariah. I mean, he is doing a really good work holding Storm behind, but I feel bad for Storm, because after the comeback he has done, probably it's frustrating for him.
He's trying these alternate lines coming through the corners. You can see the difference in the lines that both Pariah and Storm are taking from his POV. I've got to be honest, his tyres is really his downfall at this stage. He's got 16-lap all tyres compared to Pariah's 13-lap all tyres. Pariah is staying ahead purely, I think, because he's got more grip on those tyres compared to Storm. Because, I mean, Storm is going to be doing, what, 22, 23 laps at the end of this race? Pariah is only going to be doing 20. So Pariah surely going to hold on for 5th, but as soon as I say that, Storm is right on the back, and now this is the time to get the move done. Much better run, much better traction. Regardless of what I've just said there, forget about it. Storm is through and he's up to 5th.
I would have waited to the next DRS one, because now Pariah for sure will have another chance. Let's see, he opens DRS. A Storm whiffs, trying to avoid the slipstream.
Pariah though. Is he going to go for it? He is? No.
Oof. Storm closes to the door. I mean, he doesn't want the Toro Rosso to actually overtake him back. I mean, after all the effort he put into overtaking Pariah, probably the thing that he wants the least is the Toro Rosso driver to overtake him back. And look at the top 2 guys.
Oh! Mashiro's got right side end plate damage, I think. Slight right side end plate damage. I think he's got a winglet missing, certainly on that right side end plate. So now Mashiro is going around there with 3/4 of a T-tray pretty much on his car.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a pretty close ending. I mean, I have to say that Mashiro, I think at the moment he hasn't picked up any penalty yet. And regarding Axne's situation, he has a 6-second time penalty. But I have to say Mashiro is on his last warning. So probably, I mean, at least Axnes would have to overtake the McLaren and open a 3-second gap. And what have you seen?
Axnes got very close to the wall coming out of turn 3. Goodness me. So close to the wall, I thought he nearly picked up damage. But Axnes maybe just beginning to have a bit of a hint of a struggle.
And I haven't realized that Hades doesn't have a penalty. And if Mashiro gets a penalty, he could actually be on the run for a win today.
Hades 2.7 seconds off. This is not out of the question for sure. Hades no penalties. Axne's got 6. Mashiro's got no penalties. So Hades currently will be on for theoretical in second. If this was to finish now, he will be in theoretical second. But Hades is now in 3rd, currently out on track. And the gap is pretty much very even. 2.8 seconds, as you saw, between both 1st and 2nd and 2nd and 3rd. Axne is closing the gap to Mashiro, but it is just a matter of time, I think, when that gap is going to come down. Axne should be on top of Mashiro probably at the end of lap 28, start of lap 29, or that lap. So 28, 29, I think he's going to be on the back of him. But he's going to have to drag along Hades as well.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think we're gonna have a chaotic last laps, because look at Charlie, look at May. I mean, pretty close from Conti. He could actually try to attack in any moment. And then we also have Hades and Axnes catching up to Mashiro, as we can see for the first time. Axnes under the 2-second gap.
He's under the 2-second gap, just on board with Charlie. Remember, Charlie has got a 5-second time penalty to be added onto his time at the end of this race for an incident with Viking last week in Italy. And I was just right on board with the correct graphic for this. I think I've got it right. Charlie on the back, 0.6 of a second off, and he's doing a fantastic job out on track. To given that he had contact with his teammate, then he had contact elsewhere out on track and spun at the hairpin. He's coming back into this, and for 6th position, this could be a really good drive for Charlie, and probably one of his monumental drives of the season. He gets very close. I don't want to Commentators curse him again, though.
I'm gonna risk it by saying this, but I honestly think that if both incidents hadn't happened, you know, the contact between the teammates in Racing Point and then the spin from Charlie, I think we could actually be talking about maybe Storm being fighting for the podium, and then probably Charlie at least fighting for 4th. Yeah.
Could be. Key is under pressure from Storm. The gap for Axnes is now nearly a second. Axnes is a second. Do you know what? I said the end of lap 28, 29 will be on top of him. I'm pretty much going to stick to that prediction, because it will be. It will be Axes on the back of Mashiwa by the end of this lap for sure. No ifs, not buts. No buts.
Yeah, and Hades now has to take advantage of this situation, you know, push, because probably Agnes will try to push Mashiro, you know, to its limits, and probably will cause Mashiro to pick up a penalty, and that's when Hades has to push to try and get a position through penalties.
Sure, there's going to be a lot of Charlie fans maybe celebrating a position gain here for him. On the back of Pariah running down towards turn 6. Can he get to be close enough? I don't think they're going to be celebrating just yet. Sure, they'll be getting the bunting out soon for a Charlie move on the back of Pariah. 2 battles going on out on track. Still for the lead. 5-10 seconds near the and we've got Charlie and Pariah.
I would watch out for your connection because your mic is lagging quite a bit.
Uh-oh. Right, so, that's it. That's enough of my iPad being on Wi-Fi.
Let's hope we don't lose this one, because the race right now is looking pretty good after, you know, some boring laps. But now it seems like we're gonna have at least 2 battles.
Are we going to get the position? Are we going to get the lead of the race changing hands? Because Axnes is on the back of Mashiwa at the final corner. Start of lap 29. Hades 3-second time penalty, ran wide through the final corner. I think that was actually on the inside of turn 22. So Hades picking up a 3-second time penalty. This is going to add real pain to Hades. You know what? If these two battle, Hades could be within a chance of actually getting the race win. As Axes just goes a little bit too deep into the corner. He doesn't afford to go deep into the corners. Remember the Storm as well on the back of Key. Where's this came from? Where's it came from on the back of Key?
Out of nowhere.
God almighty, he's got lots of pace about him. Charlie's on the back of Pariah as well. We're going to have Recon in the box with us, as he's putting there in the comment section. Storm on the back of Key though. This is the position. This was battling for in Russia as well. Storm and Key. Round the outside he goes, through down to turn 6. Great battle in between these two. Oh, and Storm just about pulled it off.
Oh, but look at that. Nice
he's gone too deep. Here comes Key. Round the outside of turn 8. Can he get the move done? Fantastic battling. It's like Russia all over again between these two. Key's got the move done back. Brilliant move.
And I have to say, this is pure respect between both drivers. Because here in Singapore, if you don't give that gap to the other driver, will end in tears, and I have to give full credit to both drivers to actually keep it that clean.
Not over yet. Storm's still on the back of Key. We've got 2 more laps to go, so Key's gone too deep. Storm is coming around the outside of him, but I don't think he's not going to attempt the move down in towards turn 16 and 17. I think it would have been bold for Storm from even his standards, but he may as well, because Key's looking a bit weak in front of him. And look at the gap between Mashiwa, Axnes and Hades. Hades has got 1.3 seconds within a lap.
Hades saying to Axnes, knock knock, you know, I'm here. And probably now Hades will for sure in the final lap.
Speaking of knock knock, the Storm is on the back of Key. He's knocking on Kiki's door and he's trying to be let through here, trying to get the move done. He can't. Is Charlie on the back of Pariah as well? He is. Not going to get the move done there though. This is going to be a real fight. A real fight to the end of this race. 20 seconds of gap between 3rd and 4th. Out on track. Or as Key just clips the wall slightly. Storm having a bit of a look in here. He's got the inside line and shooting. It's the Racing Points move here. Can Storm get the move done? Key's going to look in. Oh, how on earth he pulled that one off? What a move.
Yeah, definitely it was from the outside. Yeah, and Kiki actually, I mean, he almost made contact. I mean, he did, but and from wing damage. And watch out, because Pariah could actually catch, and actually not only Pariah, Tamri and Conti could actually catch Kiki after that mistake. Look at his end plate. I mean, that's probably red end plate right now.
Oh, that's more than red end plate.
That's it.
that is your commentator's curse for the evening. That Key into the wall at the hairpin.
I'll take that.
He's got no front wing. He may as well continue on for the final lap of the race. There's no point pitting in because he can't get fastest lap. with it being the final lap of the race next lap time around, Kia's got to stay out there and stick it and try and hold up these guys in behind to try and hold up fifth position. It's a big ask as we go into the final lap of the race with the leaders, Mashiro and Axnes leading the way. Key is going to hold up a right old train, and Conti nearly into the wall in the background as well. But
there is rain.
There's rain.
Yeah,
oh yeah, it is. It's raining.
It's raining.
Wow.
All right. But yeah, I mean.
Right, that means. Oh my God! There's a car fest coming through the final corner. That's to put it lightly. But of course, oh, Axnes is out. Down the inside. That was at turn 6. Sorry, I'm missing all of this because there's so much going on. I missed that completely. Let's run over Storm, see if we can pick up on what happened.
I think he just went wide. I think he made contact with Mashiro because I saw the end of the contact and he made contact.
Oh, he has. He's gone into the wall on the right-hand side.
And podium for Storm. I mean,
how Storm did he get podium? How?
I don't know. And probably Charlie might get Pariah in the final lap. I don't know.
Oh, Charlie on the back of Pariah. Have to focus on Mashiro and Hades as the yellow flag in sector 2. And who is that has gone off? Superhero's gone off from 9th position. Gone into the wall. Left side end plate damage. So clearly the wet compound of the Inters beginning to come into play. If this was a couple of laps towards the end of the race, but it's not. Mashiro is coming round the final corners again. Pole to win here tonight, and fastest lap I think for Mashiro. Comes across the line, wins here in Singapore. A dramatic end to the race in Singapore. Vax Viking has now gone into the wall in the middle sector. Hades across the line in second. My God, what an ending in Singapore. It never failed. It never failed. Honestly, do not count your chickens until you go onto the final lap of the race. Axnes out of the race. Storm has somehow picked up a podium out of all of this in third. Phenomenal drive from him. Pariah in fourth, holding off Charlie. Good driving actually by Pariah. And in fact, Pariah gets a podium with Storm dropping down to 6th.
What a plot twist.
That was a plot
twist and a half. Yeah.
Charlie misses out by 0.4 of a second on a podium. Oh, Key
what an ending.
Crossed the line to finish in 8th. Mays in fact jumped Key I think on penalties. So Mays 7th, Key in 8th. Superhero crossed the line in 9th. Yeah, Key definitely had penalties. Parcells crossed the line in 10th. And Vax Viking, we haven't mentioned him during the course of tonight. He is coming through underneath the grandstand section now. And he's going to finish in 11th position. Medium compound size, definitely not the choice to be on because it's raining at the end of this race. Thank God it didn't come as it did last night around the halfway stage. Vax Viking coming across the line in 11th position. But a dramatic Singaporean Grand Prix. And it is Mashiro who takes the win again. Pole position, the win, and I think the fastest lap as well for Mashiro. So he looks like he's completed the Grand Slam. We'll get that confirmed in the meantime as he takes the top step of the podium. And Paco, Mashiro extends his championship lead in quite some style. And McLaren wrap up the constructors as well.
Did they?
I think.
Oh, actually. No, because actually the Toros are 33 points, and the McLaren, I think that's 29.
Oh, so Toro also have gained 4 points then?
Yeah, 4 points, yeah, indeed.
Let's have a look. We'll try and confirm that in the 30 seconds that we'll have, as we'll see the podium celebrations come to an end. And Mashiro takes the win here in Singapore from Hades in second. 3-second time penalty, his wrongdoing in the end. Pariah in third with Charlie in fourth. Conti in fifth. Storm in sixth. Mason seventh. Key in eighth. Superhero in ninth. Good drive from him on his debut. He recovered well. Parcells in 10th. Vax Viking in 11th. Axnes, Jeffrey, Maximus and Tom 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th. But sadly out of the race for them all. Let's have a look if we can at the constructors. We can't have a look at the constructors, I've just realised. But looking at the points, 25, 29, 18... actually, I think it's going to be 3 points. Because Mashiro picked up fastest lap of the race.
Oh yeah, 3 points, yeah.
So 3 points. True. Toro Rosso have gained 3 points on McLaren. If it was the other way around, they would have wrapped up the constructors. So they needed, essentially, from what it was in these provisional results, it would have, what, 6 points, I think? Reversed around, it would have been.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Oh my goodness me. But that reaches the end here of the Singaporean Grand Prix, one of the longest races I think we'll cover in TTL F1 League 2. And Paco, Mashiro dominated again out on track, but he had to do the hard work with front wing damage in the second half of the race. Fantastic drive from him though.
Yeah, I mean, he actually dominated. I think he played with fire when being that aggressive, you know, he got damaged, but in the end it played well. I mean, he didn't lose any position, so that was good for him. And sorry for Axnes, but I have to say, that was a bottle. I mean, a big bottle. I mean, in the final lap, I don't know what happened there, if he lost it, if there was contact, but in the final lap, I mean, he lost a worthy second position. Well, probably third with penalties, but I feel bad for him, but that was a bottle.
It was unfortunate for Axes. I think the rain might have caught him out, to be honest. He was catching Mashiro, and there was contact, I think, as you said, between them both, which I sadly missed. Hopefully we'll see the POVs. I'm sure we'll get the stewarding incidents out and about. You'll see the full standings posted in the respective chats as well, both on Discord and on PSN. But that is it for us for tonight. Next week, here in TTL F1 League 2, we take in the Russian Grand Prix, where we had that infamous battle between Key and Storm for the win last season. Are we going to get the same again, or is Mashiro going to try and spoil the party again?
Oof, quite a difficult call. I mean, I'm probably with the tendency that Mashiro is having in the last few races. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually dominates in Russia, but you never know. And just before ending the stream, I would like to ask, because we haven't asked each other about the driver of the day. Who would you actually put as driver of the day today?
Driver of the day, I've got to go for Storm for his recovery. I think Storm's recovery gets my vote for driver of the day. What about yours?
I would be between, because actually Storm did a pretty good job, but I think when you have penalties you cannot call that a good job in the end. So probably I would go either with Hades or Conti, because I think Conti today, he did a really stunning drive, you know, starting 10th. He was actually quite silent, and I think in the end he ended in 4th position with Charlie's penalty. So in the end he did a pretty good race, solid, you know, and without making any noise, he was able to climb up some good positions. So for me, or Conti or Hades.
Pretty sure Charlie finished 4th and he was 4/10 off a podium, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
just thought I'd correct you there. But that is it for tonight. Join me tomorrow for CRC action. Yes, we are back. It is touring car action for CRC tomorrow night. What a privilege I will have, as I'm joined by a former champion of CRC. It is Ash Richardson going to be joining me in the commentary box for CRC tomorrow for the touring cars. It is 8:30 as usual, and I've also got League of Europe commentary if you want to have a tune in to that as well. But from myself, James Head, and from Paco Suarez, we will bid you farewell. Please stay at home, protect the NHS, protect your health service as well, and save lives. And on this VE Day, we celebrate our freedom, and we celebrate what a great race we had there in Singapore. So from myself, from Paco, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, we'll meet again. Goodbye.
Adios.